If you breathe, Congress can regulate you, and that is what we have got to stop the slippery slope from happening.
He's been one of the biggest voices in this whole discussion. He will be here moments from now. That was South Carolina's Attorney General.
Alan Wilson is the Attorney General out of South Carolina. He was in court yesterday. He'll be there again today. But in 5 minutes, here we are, 26 states now fighting that law. My next guest is the Attorney General out of South Carolina, Alan Wilson, with me outside the court. Sir, good morning to you.
Good morning.
You were there Monday and Tuesday. You're heading back in for more today. What was your impression from yesterday?
Well, I was particularly excited to hear the justices asking questions concerning some of the issues that we brought up 2 years ago. This lawsuit was originally called frivolous by proponents of the Health Care Act, and we're seeing the Supreme Court justices, especially more moderate members, asking questions that show their concerns over the very issues we had problems with 2 years ago.
All right, you expressed a sense of confidence. Do you also have a sense of caution, though? I mean, after all, in the end, we're just trying to glean, you know, some clues in between the words that are being asked.
Well, I don't presume to be inside any of the justices' minds in knowing which way they're going to ultimately opine. We obviously have precedent on previous cases that they've ruled on and their prior decisions. But the fact that someone like Justice Kennedy is making the comments that you just aired a moment ago are very telling to me. I don't know which way he's going to rule, but the point is that for those who thought this was a frivolous case, this is evidence that it is not a frivolous case, and it will fundamentally change the relationship between the government and its citizens.
Well, it appeared that some of the justices were looking for a very specific answer to the question. Where is the limiting principle? Where does your power end as a government? Did you pick up on that?
Oh, absolutely. And I believe Scalia, Justice Scalia even went as far as to say that the Congress the federal government has enumerated powers. The states do not have enumerated powers. The 10th Amendment says that the states retain all the other powers not given to the Congress or prohibited by it. So you're looking at a constitutional document that says, Congress, here's what you are allowed to do. Anything that we don't specifically give you, it's retained by the states. And this is what this is basically about. It's about state sovereignty.
The other side would argue then you have to overturn Social Security and other programs. Is there merit to that argument?
Social Security is not under the commerce power. The federal government's trying to pass this law under the commerce power. There are other enumerated powers that they could have passed this health care law under their tax power. But when they were passing it, that wasn't a politically expedient position to take. Now they're running to the tax power under the Constitution and saying that's what it was originally intended to do.
And this is what you tweeted on that. Congress could not pass a massive tax increase, so they masqueraded the matter as an individual mandate complete with financial penalties.
Oh, that's absolutely correct. They were afraid to do it then, but now it's politically, constitutionally convenient to run to the tax authority.
Well, I know you have to run inside the court, but I appreciate the moment you spent with us today, sir. We'll see which way we go. And it looks like the band came up from New Orleans behind you there. Alan Wilson.
Oh. Thank you so much.
You bet. Have a good day today, and we'll catch up with you after the arguments are made later today. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Minutes Past.
The Washington Journal team is down in front of the Supreme Court. A little while ago, they talked to one of the attorneys general who is participating in this case.
Outside the Supreme Court with the Attorney General from South Carolina, Alan Wilson. Mr. Attorney General, welcome.
Hey, thank you.
Today's argument, in part about Medicaid, from your perspective, how do you look at it?
Well, I believe this is a coercive act of the federal government forcing states to meet mandates that they can't afford.
So tell me a little bit about your interest and what you're looking for as far as arguments go.
Well, today we have two arguments that we're looking at. Obviously, severability is about to happen here in 40 minutes. Basically, we're arguing that the mandate and other provisions of the Health Care Act are not severable. In other words, if they fall, the whole law falls. That's what we hope the court will do. And then, of course, after lunch, the court will hear the argument on Medicaid expansion. You basically have the federal government telling the states that we're going to withhold all previously committed money if you don't implement onerous mandates to allow folks who previously weren't eligible to be on Medicaid, if you don't include them. Well, we certainly want to include those who need to be on there, but the states have an idea of what their bottom line is, and they can't meet the bottom line. They can't afford to meet these onerous mandates, and they're basically having a gun put to their head and being forced to expand their Medicaid programs to the degree that they can't even afford to fund right now.
So if the act is overturned, what do you tell people in your state, especially those who need health care?
Well, first off, we're not against health care reform, and we're not against providing health care. What I'm against having a federal government that can regulate anybody who breathes. I use the analogy. If a child needed a heart transplant, my child, for instance, and I wanted to go I didn't have the money to pay for that transplant. If I were to go down to the local convenience store and commit armed robbery to get the money, no one would challenge my intentions. My intentions are to save a child's life. That is an honorable and noble thing to do. But that doesn't make the act of robbing a store any less illegal. The way that this Congress went and passed this law, they could have passed it under their tax authority. They chose to do it another way. It was unconstitutional. And just like robbing the convenience store is illegal, the way they passed this was illegal. I'm not going to challenge the intentions. There are other ways to help those folks who aren't eligible for Medicaid or who fall outside in the holes, the gaps in coverage. There are other ways to provide for them. But this is not the way to do it. If Congress can pass laws this way, there's no limit to what they can do.
How do you look at today's arguments in light of the arguments that took place yesterday?
Well, yes, I walked out yesterday. I'm guardedly optimistic. I'm not inside the justices' minds. I'm very pleased that they're asking questions that we raised 2 years ago and prove that this is not a frivolous case.
The Attorney General from South Carolina joining us. Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you.